Coming up next on The V, our guest today is Robert McGhee with the Poarch Creek Indians. Also, the V team will take a look at what happened down in Mobile. Bradley Byrne beat back Dean Young. Also, another Republican hangs up his spurs. So long, Wes Long. All this and more coming up next, right here on The V. Welcome to the Voice of Alabama Politics. My name is Bill Britt, and I'm here today with the V team as always. Welcome, everyone.
Good morning. Good morning.
Great to have you here. Well, it's been a pretty exciting week. The race down in Mobile, Bradley Byrne beat back Dean Young just barely to get the seat that's been vacated by Joe Bonner. What are your thoughts on that, Byrne?
Well, we said it a couple of weeks ago. When the race comes down to a contest of who goes to the better church, it's a sad day for all of Alabamians, I think. It's unfortunate the race went there. Ultimately, a lot of money came in the last minute, last couple of weeks.
A lot of out-of-state. You know, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce got involved, did sent money down. Yeah. Then Mark Levine, the very well-known radio talk show host, national syndicate guy, Eric Erickson, they both endorsed Young. So, I mean, Young just never had the money that Bradley had.
Even members of Congress got involved in this race by putting money in Martha Roby, the House leadership.
I thought that was a little shocking, though.
Do you think this was the race that people in the national media made it out to be? Is this really the divide in the Republican Party between the Tea Party and the establishment, or is this just something that was made up?
No,
yeah,
it's not.
It is.
No, it's not. And here's why. Bradley Byrne is not the establishment. He's hated among most walking rank-and-file Republicans. He is despised. The people were ready for him to go off and retire. Dean Young is hated and despised by most of the Republican establishment. These were the least two popular people out of probably the 9 that ran that made it into the runoff.
Well, that's,
I mean, I'm just being honest.
But you know, I mean, Dean Young, y'all, he ran his run before against Joe Bonner, so he had the name ID. Both of those two guys had the name ID. That's what they had. But I think he's right when it comes to that. And, you know, we all thought everybody was focused on this race, and a lot of the Washington Inside magazine trade people were. But remember, there were elections for gubernatorial races in Virginia and other states throughout the United States, and that's who they were really focusing on.
I don't know. I mean, I was watching my Twitter feed the night of the election, and in between New Jersey and Virginia, there was Alabama.
Right.
And with the votes flip-flopping back and forth there for a while before all of Mobile County reported, it was looking like it was touch and go. But
well, no, I agree on that. I'm just saying prior to that, yes, that night they were focused on us.
Well, I thought our own David Mowry, who has a consulting firm here in Montgomery, had a quote that was spread around the country. He said, in Republican primaries in Alabama, he didn't think that money outplayed crazy or trumped crazy. I guess it does.
you know what's shocking about it, though, is the amount of money that you mentioned, Claire, being pumped in at the last minute. There was less than a 3,000 vote difference between these two guys. And when you looked at where they stood on the issues outside of gay marriage, which was Dean Young's platform,
well,
when
I
you
think
look
that
at
really
them,
hurt him at the very end.
It did.
I think that hurt him.
But when you look at the other issues, there wasn't a dime's worth of difference between where Bradley Byrne stood and where Dean Young stood on things like raising taxes and on Obamacare and that sort of thing. So what I think the Bradley Byrne folks have to be concerned about in June when he has to run again is that there is another potential competitor out there who is not the firebrand candidate that Dean Young was, but that maybe has some solutions to these issues. Because that's really all Bradley Byrne and Dean Young did is said, we don't like this, we don't like that. They didn't offer solutions, and I think that's what the voters want.
Well, and we say that, and I hope that's true, but so many times it's style over substance,
That's
and I
correct.
think that's what we saw here. Speaking of style over substance, we've had another
it's been a crazy week.
House member decide he's bailing out. Wes Long, so long. He's saying he's out, after one term. How does that happen?
I don't know how it happens.
It's a pattern.
It
It's
is
a pattern.
unprecedented.
Yes.
If there's anyone in the state of Alabama whose head is still buried in the sand and does not think that there is fire behind all this smoke, they're crazy. They're absolutely insane. You do not get people like Brian Taylor, who had, like we talked about last week or week before, a beautiful young family, a promising career, handsome young man, smart, intelligent, had all the right things going for him, jumping ship. You don't get Wes Long, same thing, jumping ship. It doesn't make sense.
Okay, but there is a common thread here, y'all. These are freshman senators or freshman House members who received a lot of money in 2010 from Mike Hubbard when he was trying to take over the State House. And more importantly, I'm going to draw another thread here. Both of these gentlemen are lawyers. I can't blame Brian Taylor, nor can I blame Wes Long. If you're a lawyer, that's the way you make your living. And if you've had to spend any time over in Lee County dealing with what they call possibly a grand jury, and everybody says it's rumors, but it's not, it's fact, everybody knows that, they've got to take a step back, because if they can negotiate and walk, Brian Taylor cannot afford to have his career, his license to practice law taken away from him.
Here's the other
and
issue,
neither can
though,
Wes Long.
Claire.
Sad.
These two guys came in as very young freshmen
with
the Republican tsunami. Folks didn't know them well. They had the right letter after their name at the right time. And now when you look at the polling results, Byrne, that you've showed us with Brian Taylor in his area, and Wes Long was not very popular in his area either, with the redistricting and some of the things that he did with the legislation that he proposed. Again, not a popular person. So they have to start looking at, can they raise money, can they get the support? And I just don't think that either of those two individuals have it going forward. Well,
I do think this has something to do with the grand jury investigation in Lee County. I also think that there's a point there. If you look at the Riley PAC, which is Riley, Hubbard, Marsh, the Alabama 2014 PAC, they are spending more money than they're bringing in. And there's no way for them to protect the incumbents, like they said, if they continue to spend more money.
Well, let me make one point about, or 2 points about the 2014 PAC. One, they gave Wes Long $15,000 4 days before he announced he wasn't running.
Yes, and he was on the phone last week calling lobbyists asking money for his campaign.
So this is something that popped up quickly.
Right, exactly.
Something popped up quickly.
Same thing with Brian Taylor.
Second point about the 2014 PAC. I think that money is about to get toxic. I think that money is about to be toxic, and anyone who takes that money is going to be suspect, because as news starts to break, maybe in East Alabama, that 2014 money will become a millstone around some people's necks.
And exactly, they've chosen several senators they want to take out and House people, and I've heard from their two current incumbents, and it's personal to me because they're females, okay? And
that narrows it down.
That narrows it down. They're
of us
Caucasian females. Okay, so that narrows it down in the state
Which
Senate.
three? Which
two
three
or three are you talking about?
But the bottom line is they're recruiting these candidates and saying, I'm going to give you $750,000 if you'll run against Senator X. We'll give you $750,000 if you'll run against Senator X. I don't know if they're really going to be able to get that kind of money now. And then, they really just probably shouldn't be taking on those two.
I do not see the kind of fundraising necessary to win these elections like they've said. I mean, we know that Hubbard promised several Republican incumbents that he would give them a $100,000 bonus if they would stick with him until after the election. I mean, we're promising now, we've gone from, I've got $10 million on hand to protect incumbents, to, well, I'll give you a $100,000 IOU if you'll stick with me and run.
Well, wait a minute, then you got to use his printing company and his radio, TV, everybody that he is connected with. That's where the money has to go.
Well, I think that those days may be coming to a swift end. I wouldn't bet the farm on it yet, but I'd bet several acres for sure.
Well, and I've heard another little rumor. It's amazing, since we've started this show, all these little calls you get out of the clear blue. I hear another rumor that there's 3 freshman House members that have to be present in Auburn this week. They were there either Wednesday or Thursday this past week.
We're going to have to hold it right there. We'll be back with our guest, Robert McGhee from the Poarch Creek Indians. You're watching The V.
Big lights and bright colors, the future is drawing near with new thoughts and ideas. My dreams, they are start right here. So I take a step and time will tell. I'm filling up high like a wishing well. I got big dreams to take over the world. I got
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making Home Affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
So I've come up with the family emergency plan.
Great. What is it?
It's difficult to talk about, so I'm not telling you.
How will we know what to do?
You won't.
I'm so glad I won't have to remember anything.
And me too. Thanks for this, sweetie.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Welcome back to the Voice of Alabama Politics. Our guest today is Robert McGhee. He's the treasurer of the Tribal Council of the Poarch Creek Indians in Atmore, Alabama. Welcome, sir.
Hey, good afternoon, good morning. Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you. Your tribe is part of the original they're descendants of the original tribe that settled through all of Alabama and Georgia. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yeah, the Poarch Creek Indians are located within Atmore, Alabama, but it was once a part of the Creek Confederacy, the McGhee Creek Nation, and we still reside in the small town of Atmore.
And
Poarch.
Poarch, yeah.
Poarch, Alabama.
Well, and I wondered where that came from. That's where the name.
Location.
Yeah, the location. That's
location.
great. Well, a lot of people haven't heard about the tribe in years and years until you started having gaming. And once you built the facility down in Atmore, which is beautiful, and now a new one in Wetumpka, you've garnered a lot of attention, some positive, some negative, but attention nonetheless. Could you tell us a little bit about the tribe, how it's regulated, how you fit in, and what you do with the money you make?
Definitely. Well, one of the things, it is unfortunate that, that we used to be the small, group of people who lived in Poarch, Alabama, and now the only thing that we're associated with when people hear about the Poarch Creek Indians or they hear gaming, that's who they think about. And one of the things that we've tried to do is just, there's so much more to us. There's so much more that we have to offer to the state of Alabama, our history, our culture, and just having the opportunity for people to come visit Poarch, Alabama. But, one of the things that we've been able to do, through our economic development and what it's allowed us to create a better quality of life for our people in the community is through gaming.
Right.
And one of the things that we do is, by federal law, the Indian Gaming Regulatory Act requires that we take the funds, all the gaming revenue funds, and put them back into the community. So those could either be through tribal member benefits, through economic development, through charitable donations, and also to help other communities. And that's one of the things we've done. Keep in mind that we're a government. It's one of those things that we have law enforcement, our health department, social services, education, our fire department. So we don't have a tax base. So all the money that comes from our gaming revenue is actually used to put back into the community to operate those programs, the utilities department, to provide services to our people.
And you've even made some of those services available to the greater community out there, not just the tribal lands. Is that correct?
Oh, yes, sir, yeah. And through our fire department, we have a full-time fire department in the Atmore Poarch area that actually covers not only the reservation, but also covers everybody who lives in the community, the businesses and such. Our law enforcement, they're actually cross-deputized, and they have the opportunity to protect anybody that needs assistance in that end of the county. One of the things, we have a utilities department, our own water system, so you're more than welcome to tie into our system, or you can stay with the other local system.
One of the things that, came up the other day, I was talking with someone about the new facility in Wetumpka, and they asked just that. Wetumpka has a volunteer fire department, so how will you handle that when you're in Wetumpka?
Actually, what we just approved an agreement with the city of Wetumpka that we're going to be offering $850,000 to the city of Wetumpka to operate a full-time fire department.
So that'll benefit everyone.
Benefit everybody. So it's one of those things that everybody within that community, the Walmart, even the big businesses and such, will actually benefit from a full-time fire department.
This is one of the things, and you know, I've done some research and been to the tribal lands down there, and y'all have done a lot to restore not only the area where the casino is, but all through that area has really been restored tremendously. One of the things that we've seen is job creation in the area. You know, the state of Alabama has spent hundreds of millions of dollars recruiting business from out of state, from out of the country, and we're happy to have the job development. But you guys have built business without any taxpayer money, without any government funds. I mean, you've done that on your own, haven't you?
Yes, definitely. And it's one of those things we're proud to say that probably after the opening of the facility in Wetumpka, approximately about 2,500 jobs. And I think what people get confused with, we have membership of our tribal nation of 3,000 people. Keep in mind that about 90 to 95% of those jobs are held by non-tribal members.
Right.
And so it's one of those things that's just providing that, you know, giving them the opportunity to give back to their communities and live and work within the area.
And the tribe also, to its non-tribal members who work in the facilities, they have pretty good benefits and pretty good pay from what I understand.
Yeah, definitely. They have health care. We provide all, you know, pretty much all the fringe benefits that most employers try to provide for their people. Right. One of the things that we do, and we're a self-insured company with the Blue Cross Blue Shield, so in South Alabama at our facilities in Atmore, we're constructing, it'll open next month, pretty much a full-service health clinic that all of our employees, along with our members, will have the opportunity to utilize.
Well, this certainly, I know when you had the job fair out in Wetumpka, people stood in line for 8 hours or more to try to find employment. So people are hungry for jobs. You're offering jobs. Your critics say, though, gaming is a vice, and they don't approve of the vice. They say there's corruption that comes along with it. Could you sort of answer the critics?
Well, I think you're always going to have critics, especially within this type of industry. But one of the things that the Poarch Bandit Creek Indians, along with the federal government, and they've tried to put various, you know, strong regulations in place. I mean, we're actually regulated by the National Indian Gaming Commission, along with the Tribal Gaming Commission. And so we have a lot of regulations in our place that keep out, you know, those type of, let's say, the issues that have been brought forth in other industries. But one of the things when you look at the history of the tribe, we've never had a problem in that area. And when you look at even the other vices that may possibly come along with that, one of the things that we try to do is any member has the right to ban themselves from the casino. But you can do it through, we can either do it, or if we feel that certain things are getting out of control, have a discussion with you, and you can ban yourself.
Right.
And that has worked in the past.
Well, and that seems to be a solution. The times that we've been down there, of course, we've seen mostly a lot of families, I know you're building a facility for families down there, a bowling alley, theaters, and the people that we've seen there and interviewed have been happy to have the jobs. Of course, Atmore's out in the middle of nowhere. But same thing with Wetumpka. It seems like you've gotten a pretty good welcome.
I agree with you. One of the things that we're happy about is just, you know, raising the quality of life for the employees, for the people within the community. And, you know, the fact that we've been able to give back to the community has been really, you know, over the last, you know, couple of years, we've given over $6 million back to the communities. You know, such as we give to the Montgomery County Commission, the Elmore County Commission, the City of Wetumpka. We have fire agreements, law enforcement agreements, and a lot of YMCA's, Boys and Girls Clubs. We've tried to do our best to just be a part of that community, give back to that community, and just be thankful of, you know, hey, for once in our lives, we have the opportunity to give back, and that's what we'd like to do.
Well, and I think we spent a Mother's Day, I think with your great-grandmother, or is it grandmother, and it was a wonderful time, and it was very much like being at home. So folks down in Atmore aren't much different than folks all around Alabama, are they?
No, not really. It's just good old people who are just welcome to anybody, and we're happy that people can come visit and take the opportunity to just not come to the casino, but just come to, if you want, to the museum and see what we're all about.
Well, and I encourage people to do that. It is an education. Thank you for being with us, and we wish you continued success.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Our guest today has been Robert McGhee with the Poarch Creek Indians. We'll be right back. You're watching The V.
I teach. I touch the future. I am AEA.
I keep the school clean every day for your children. I am AEA.
Congratulations on your scholarship. I help children make choices for college and careers. I am AEA.
We are AEA.
Big lights and bright colors, the future is drawing near with new thoughts and ideas. My dreams, they all start right here. So I take a step and time will tell. I'm filling up high like a wishing well. I got big dreams to take over the world. I got
Welcome back to the V. Our guest today was Robert McGhee of the Poarch Creek Indians. He had a lot of great things to say about what the tribe is doing today. One of the things we didn't get to is how our state has tried to put them out of business on more than one occasion.
All right, but if you're going to start talking about gaming, you need to check the plant for bugs. You need to frisk it.
Scott?
This wouldn't be the first time a gaming conversation was taped.
No, it wouldn't be.
No, that probably won't be the last.
No, but, well, Rufus is happy. He's doing well.
Well, you know, I think it's very interesting. Just today, you know, the Choctaw Indians down the Mobile area have popped up and said, you know, it's out on the news today and saying that they have rolled out bingo slot machines. And so the question's out there, is that legal or illegal for the Choctaw Indians in the Mobile area?
All right, now you know this is an issue that's near and dear to my heart. So
yes,
let's get a couple things straight.
Yeah, I was on radio and somebody informed me of that. Yes, when I was on radio on Tuesday morning in Montgomery.
Well, I'm proud of the folks that I represent. But let me say this first. Electronic bingo machines are not illegal slot machines. And so if anybody in the state is running slot machines, those are illegal. Now, if the MOA Band of Choctaw are running electronic bingo machines, that's a different issue, and it's a problem for them, I think, because the MOA Band of Choctaw are a state-recognized Indian tribe. They're not a federal recognized Indian tribe. Okay. And only federally recognized Indian tribes can conduct gaming under IGRA.
Answer me a question, because you are legally involved in some of these things. What is the consensus among the experts who have been retained in this field and have looked at the machines that are at play in Alabama prior to yesterday?
Every single legitimate independent testing lab that's recognized in the gaming jurisdictions in the country and internationally say bingo machines are not slot machines. Okay. There's no question. Okay.
Well, but one of the things that's been said here is that, you know, it has to be played like traditional bingo on a card and that type of thing. But that's sort of like saying that, you know, my kids have got to play their music on a record player. I mean, isn't it kind of like that? I mean, the game's the same, but the device is different. I mean, how many people really listen to 45s or vinyl? I mean,
well, how many of you have a telephone that has a cord attached to the wall?
Right. I mean,
or a telephone at all.
But you know, I don't know. I mean, that was the Supreme Court said we needed a card. I've looked at the machines.
Okay, well, let's get back to what the Poarch Creek Indians had to say today, and because there's been a lot of controversy. I mean, you know, we saw a whole, you know, investigation and all these people's lives that were ruined over all this. And the bottom line, you know, whether you're for or against gaming, I mean, I'm not there, but the bottom line is the people of our state should have years ago had a right to vote on this issue once and for all, up and down. And
well, I'm going to disagree with you there, Claire, because the folks that I represent would say that the people of Alabama did vote in their counties to allow them to conduct bingo games. As far as the Poarch Creeks are concerned, though, the Attorney General has filed suit against them back in February, claiming that the games that they're operating are illegal under Alabama law. And he's trying to essentially bust open the protection that the tribe has. That case is pending in federal district court here in Montgomery. And the Attorney General has taken the position that they're not conducting legitimate games that they're authorized to do under IGRA.
I mean, I have a problem with gambling per se because this is a zero-sum game. But if it's legal, as an American, I'm going to shut up and let people do it as long as it's legal. I mean, there may be a special place in hell if you spend the baby's money, milk money, on gaming, but I don't know that for sure. But if it's legal in America, it's legal in Alabama, then we ought to just move on. But this tribe has done some tremendous things down in Atmore, and I applaud anybody that makes themselves and their people better. I think it's a great thing.
Well, and one of the arguments against gaming is that the area around, and this is what Brian Taylor's been saying the last few weeks, or last few years really, the area around casinos goes to pot. You know, that you end up with slums and people broke out on the streets. You know, I've not seen that in Atmore. Wetumpka seems about like it was when they got there. I don't know that that argument is seeing its way to fruition in Alabama.
Well, I mean, I think there's studies, and you can ask a lot of the religious right and some of the organizations, because every year the Alabama Baptist Coalition fights it, and you can talk to ministers. But the thing that I think that they are doing, the Poarch Creek is doing, is they are giving back to the communities, and not just in Atmore. I've seen it in Montgomery County. You see it, you know, in the surrounding areas, and they need to do that, and they need to do every bit of that and more, and I'm sure they'll do that in Wetumpka once they get this operation full speed up and running there as well.
Well, just the amount of jobs that they're creating and the people that are looking for those jobs, I mean, they pay well, and they do well by their
there was a lot of jobs lost in Macon County and Houston County. I mean, tremendous amount of jobs lost
in Greene
over there.
County as well.
Yeah, in Greene County.
I mean, over 3,000 jobs have been lost, and those have been absorbed by
one of the major
Indians.
things people want out of government, though, is good traffic flow. There is some concern in Wetumpka with the large casino going in right there. How's that traffic flow going to work? They've proved to be pretty good neighbors in the past. You hope they would come to the table and help solve that problem.
Well, Governor Bentley at one time, I think, said he would like to see an up or down vote on the gambling issue.
That was in 2010 when he was campaigning and running for governor. That was the case.
But the only way that the people of Alabama get to vote when it relates to Indian gaming is if there was a compact that was proposed with the Poarch Creeks. Otherwise, the Poarch Creeks are on federal tribal land, and the only folks that have any claim to that land are the Poarch Creeks and the federal government.
That's right. That's their jurisdiction.
Well, I heard, and this may be rumor, it may be true, it may be not, that the Poarch Creek made about $1 billion last year. If the government got 30% of that, which I think is about what they could expect to get under a compact, that'd settle a whole lot of problems in Alabama. I mean, we wouldn't have to raid any trust funds. And
maybe could build some prisons, maybe could fulfill our Medicare and Medicaid requirements.
Well, we don't want to get carried away.
You know, I one time when I worked in the Attorney General's office, I thought, you know, we've got a Republican governor, we got a Republican president, Republican Attorney General, we should have signed a compact with them.
Well, we're going to have to stop it.
That was my thought. I mean,
Claire, I'm sorry, we're going to have to stop it right there. You've been watching The V. We're the people who watch politics for you and hope you watch to learn what we're finding out. We know that even if you're not interested in politics, politics is interested in you. Have a great week. The V team will be back on Sunday.